Shalom, this is your brother Radah. Before I get this lesson started, I want to give double honors. I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem and YAHAWASHI, Bahashem and Rakakadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and the apostles, the great millstone of whom I learned from, and a shalom to the hopefully elect men taking this truth to the four corners of the earth, bidding the elect of Israel to the marriage supper of the Lamb, YAHAWASHI. This lesson is given to me. I'm going to attempt to communicate what I believe the Spirit is expressing concerning YAHAWASHI, the son of David, and who the son of David actually was and is, and how to explain that over time and within the revelation of reincarnation, and how basically the son of David isn't just YAHAWASHI in the New Testament. The son of David is also King Solomon in the book of, I believe, First and 2 Samuel. But right here, I want to go into the prodigal sons. Basically, the prodigal son and the son of David are one and the same, being embodied in YAHAWASHI. So we have here is Luke chapter 1 verse 15, and he said, a certain man had two sons. And this is a parable, okay? So there's a lot of mystery, there's a lot of riddles, there's a lot of dark speech, a dark saying. It takes wisdom and the spirit of understanding to open these up. And many people think this is only speaking about, so-called people who sin, and then through so-called Jesus they get saved or forgiven. And well, we know his name is not Jesus, it's YAHAWASHI. And we also know that he specifically only came for the Israelites, who is known as the world, which is another dark saying, and also Mount Zion. So he only came to redeem the Israelites. He didn't come to redeem the planet Earth. He came to redeem the Israelites that were scattered to the four corners within the planet Earth, and that is the world that is mentioned in John 3:16, and that word "world" is it's defined as a beautiful arrangement or government. It's a Greek word that means that. So this parable in Luke 15, this is verse 11, and he said, a certain man had two sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. And he divided unto them his living. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living. And when he had spent all, there was a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want. Now I want to jump down. Okay, and he went and journeyed himself to a citizen of that country, and he sent him into his field to feed swine. And he would have fain have filled his belly with the husk that the swine did eat, and no man gave unto him. And when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father's have bread enough and spare, and I perish with hunger? I will arise and go to my father, and will say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of thy hired servants. And he arose and came to his father. But when his father yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. Remember that word, compassion. Okay? And remember the fact that he repented when he turned back and came to his father. He was repenting, right? Just keep that in your mind. And the son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. But the father said to his servants, bring forth the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet. I want you to remember all these things, because you guys can already see where this is going. The robe, the ring, and the shoes. What do we hear? I believe it's in Ecclesiasticus. Talking about wisdom will be a robe. She'll be like a diadem, a crown on your head, right? And you put your feet into her fetters. You wear her like a robe. Okay, and bring the fatted calf and kill it. Let us eat and be merry, right? The Passover. For this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And they began to be merry. I want to go and pull only one word from the statement of the brother that's mad. Okay? So this is verse 25. Now his elder son was in the field, and as he came and drew nigh to the house, he heard music and dancing. And he called one of the servants and asked what these things meant. And he said unto him, thy brother is come, and thy father hath killed the fatted calf, because he hath received him safe and sound. And he was angry and would not go in. Therefore came his father out and entreated him. And he answered and said to his father, lo, these many years do I serve thee, neither transgressed I at any time thy commandment, and yet thou never gavest me a kid, that I might make merry with my friends. But as soon as this thy son was come, now listen to this part, which hath devoured thy living with harlots. I'm stopping right there, because I just want this one part. With harlots. What are harlots in the Bible? Strange women. Harlots, strange women. The whore who sits on many waters. The false doctrines and philosophies of the world or the other nations, with Esau sitting on top, right? The strange woman mentioned all throughout Proverbs. Why would thou be ravished with the breast, or the love of a strange woman? Let her breast satisfy thee as always, the wife of thy youth. Talking about wisdom, the spirit of wisdom that is only allotted to the Hebrew Israelites, the bloodline, the seed line of the prophets, of the friends of the Most High. Wisdom maketh them friends with power and prophets, right? And wisdom enters into holy souls, right? Holy being separate, identifying the souls as Hebrew Israelites. This parable is for us. It's YAHAWASHI speaking to the Israelites. But I want to try to reach into this, because I believe the Spirit showed me that if YAHAWASHI is the firstborn, and he is, right? He's the first and the last. He's Adam, and he is the second Adam. Well, what happened with the first Adam? The first Adam, two things. Well, many things, but two things. He received the breath of life, right? Let me see if I can find where I believe I pulled that up. Let me see. Yeah. Right. So look at Genesis 2:7. So, and Yahweh, the power, formed the man of dust out of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. Talking about Adam. And man became a living soul. Meaning, when he got the baptism of the Holy Spirit, when he got the wisdom and understanding, it's the same breath mentioned in Ezekiel 37 that would bring the dead bones back to life. He would be able to live before the Most High based on the Most High's instructions on how to live in the earth, the commandments, the laws, the statutes, you know, the standard of living that the Most High gives his sons. Okay? So he was the first to receive this because he's the firstborn, right? There were other people on the earth at this time. He wasn't the only one. Him and Eve were not the only one. That's the lack of knowledge and understanding wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that Western Renaissance Christianity has when it tries to break down our scriptures. But they actually believe it was just Adam and Eve in the garden. No, they were the focal point. There was a whole bunch of people on the earth. That's who the serpent. The serpent is a group of people, or a representation of a group of people, and so is the cattle or the beasts of the field. Those are the nations. And the reason why they're likened into animals is because they don't have the law. And we know through King David that when you don't have the law, man who dies without knowing the Most High is no different than the beast. That's an actual song. Okay, so here we see YAHAWASHI as Adam receiving the instruction. He was the first to do so, as well as through Eve, he was the first to transgress, right? And he received the covering for his transgression through the Most High. And unto Adam also and to his wife did Yahweh God make coats of skin and clothe them. Okay, so that was the first time something like this happened. And Eve got her clothing because of her marriage to Adam. Going back to the parable of Luke 15, the son of David and the prodigal son are one and the same. If we go into, and we know that YAHAWASHI knew he was Solomon, remembered that he was Solomon, had an idea that he was Solomon, because he quoted Solomon many times in his earthly ministry as YAHAWASHI. And there's a reason why he brings up Solomon. Okay? He even says, one greater than Solomon is here. People will hear that statement and think that YAHAWASHI is disrespecting or somehow putting down King Solomon. Or at least that's how it seems when you're in Christianity. No, we know that YAHAWASHI is the corner, right? He's the chief corner. He's the rock of our salvation. He's the foundation. Why would he be comparing himself to anybody? Think about this. He knew who he was when he was YAHAWASHI. He had a greater outpouring or endowing of understanding of himself and what he was here to do than any time prior when he was on the earth. Right? We know that he was Adam. We know that he was Melchizedek or Melchizedek. We also know that he was literally Isaac, and we know that he was King Solomon. And in all those lots, he wasn't operating in the fullness of his wisdom. He was going from glory to glory. And in every one of those lots was a type and shadow of who he is as YAHAWASHI on the earth. He's the first son of God. Adam was called the son of God. He's without mother and father, right? That's that. Or he's the King of Peace. One of his nicknames in the prophets is Shiloh. Well, that's the King of Salem, right? Shiloh, and that's what Melchizedek means, right? And he just shows up and blesses Abraham, and then you never hear of him again. Just mysterious, right? Then Abraham has the three angels, which one of those is YAHAWASHI, walks up to him and says, "This time next year I will return to you according to the time of life, and you will have a children." And Abraham's 99 years old and Sarah's 90, correct? And Sarah's like, how can this be? You know, we're so old. And then so a year later, Isaac is born, the promised child, not Ishmael, but Isaac. And then Isaac goes up the mountain with his father. Let's get that. So look at this. So you got Abraham said to the young men, because the Most High said, sacrifice your son. Why? Because we know that Abraham and Isaac were going to be a type and shadow of the Most High, Yahweh, and YAHAWASHI, and what they would do in the future when YAHAWASHI would literally come down during the Roman Empire and die and submit himself to dying the death on the cross, a very painful, excruciating death. That's where excruciation, the word excruciation comes from. It comes from the definition of what the human body experiences when it's on the cross. It's extremely painful. So Abraham said unto his young men, this is after the Most High gives him the direction to sacrifice his son, right? And so people in Christianity teach this awesome story. Oh, you know, Isaac was so obedient to his father, and that's a picture of YAHAWASHI. They say the word Jesus. and they go up the mountain, and that same mountain is the same mountain that Moses was on, where we made the covenant. They get into all this stuff that's all true, but they don't understand that Isaac is literally YAHAWASHI. That he's just playing out this character. He doesn't know he's YAHAWASHI, but he is YAHAWASHI, playing a type and shadow of himself in the form of Isaac. These are great mysteries of the scriptures. So as he's walking up, so as Abraham says unto the young men, abide here with me and ask, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship and come to you again. Verse 6. And Abraham took wood and the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son, and he took the fire in his hand and the knife, and they went both up together. And in verse 7, and Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, my father. And he said, here I am, my son. And so you see this all throughout the scriptures too. You see Isaiah 63, verse 1 through 5. Who is this that comes from Basra? Who is this with dyed garments coming from Edom? Who is this coming from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? I trampled alone. I am he. I trampled I trampled them alone. You see Yahweh and YAHAWASHI speaking to each other back and forth in future prophecy. You see it again in what who has declared, who has risen up into heaven with the winds in his fist, and who has descended. What is his name? What is his son's name, if thou canst tell? You always see this father and son duo. That's what you see all throughout the scriptures, man. You see it all over, okay? And there's more. There's even more precepts that show that. I'm just pointing out those two. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, my father. And he said, here I am, my son. And he said, behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Now, I want to say this. If you take this and go into 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, there is a time in history when YAHAWASHI was looking at all the books and all the plans to create. He was going to create, once Yahweh created YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI was then given the blueprint on how to create all the right-handed and all the left-handed Elohim. And within those blueprints of creating the Elohim, there was also the blueprints of man. Everything that was going to happen. It was all declared from before, from the times of old. He declares the end from the beginning. And there was a time when YAHAWASHI read his own story and saw that he would sin against the Most High in order to bring about redemption. That's what he was chosen for. Just like we were, you guys. Paul talks about us being created subject to vanity and being subject to hope. It might sound like we're saying, well, what does that mean about sin? So does that mean that because the Most High chose you to commit sins, that your sins aren't sins? No. Transgressions are transgressions. But it's under the sun that is the place of judgment. Judgment doesn't take place in the spiritual realm, you guys. Have you noticed that the left-handed angels, the left-handed Elohim, Satan, Asmodeus, all the other left-handed powers, they don't get judged for the things they do because they are the left-handed expression of the Most High. But when they carry things out in the earth and a man does those things, that man gets judged by the Most High for doing those things. And so, in order for us to see the balance of the beauty of the holiness and the righteousness of Yahweh, there had to be a place for life to be lived out on the right-hand side and on the left-hand side, so that we could see over time how Yahweh responds to things. We would have never known that adultery was bad until we did it, right? He told us don't worship other gods, and we did it. And now look at us. Look at Babylon now. Look at America now. Women do not listen to men. Women do not fear men. Women do not respect men. And what I mean by fear men, I'm not talking about this abused, shatterbrained, like scared to get hit. No, I'm not talking about some goofy shit like that. I'm talking about respectfully fear, reverence as sons of God, reverence as as having wisdom and the ability to judge a nation or a family or a section of a city, a town, a country, and a woman looking at you and having all this respect for your mind, having respect for your sonship. Women do not look at men like that. They look at men as ATMs. They look at men as worshipers. You're supposed to worship me. They have so much power in America, and they are so void of instruction and understanding and wisdom themselves. They are completely ran by their emotions and the fantasies that are in their minds from Hollywood movies and magazines. And they are literally, they are stuck in a fantasy loop of reality that they are convinced that men are supposed to serve them. And they have they do not have the capacity to free themselves from this mental state that they are in. They're permanently stuck in it unless by the grace of Yahweh B'Hashem YAHAWASHI and the Spirit, it unlocks them. If they don't get unlocked, they're going to stay in that. And they're getting worse by the second. They're getting, I don't need a man, is the equivalent to a man saying, I don't need YAHAWASHI. Or let me rephrase that. A woman saying, I don't need a man, is the equivalent to an Israelite man saying, I don't need YAHAWASHI. I don't need Yahweh B'Hashem YAHAWASHI. I can do it on my own. It's the exact same thing, you guys. A man cannot function separated from his power. The Hebrew Israelite man can't. Just like a woman. Look what happens to women when they and see women, even women that are quote unquote independent, they're still not independent because they're operating in a system that was established by men. And the laws that protect them were written by men. They were written by wicked men, Edomite men, but still nonetheless men. They're not living in a reality that they created themselves. America was established by men. America and all of its wealth was stolen by men. And so now we're in a place with all this opulent wealth and all of this, all this provision where women think, oh, I don't need a man. Watch when Jacob's trouble comes and how quickly women will realize they need men again. It's gonna be a really disturbing, it's gonna be a crazy sight. But I'm getting off topic. So Genesis 22 verse 7, and Isaac spake unto Abraham and his father and said, my father. And he said, here am I, my son. And he said, behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? So right here you see Yahawashi in his youth. He's Isaac. He hasn't transgressed. There's no recording, there's no real record of Isaac ever going off. For the most part, he followed his instructions of his father in his youth. He grew up to be a pretty amazing husband and father, and then he died. And before he died, he spoke 2 very powerful prophecies over his sons that have been steadily going and growing and coming true throughout the ages, throughout the generations, throughout all the different rulerships. The words of Isaac that were spoken over Esau and the words of Isaac that were spoken over Jacob are still coming to pass and have come to pass. This is how we know that Isaac is Yahawashi. Okay, so this is a type and shadow where we see that Yahawashi didn't want to sin. He didn't want to transgress, but he did. Why? To fulfill the will of his father. Somebody had to come down here and transgress, right? And someone had to come down here and transgress and be redeemed. Just like there has to be someone on the earth that has to be the rejected seed. That's Esau, right? And even in Esau being rejected, what did the Most High give him? Right now, Esau has the fatness of the earth. A seed line, a race, a nation of people that the Most High hates has been allowed to live on earth and get away with everything. They've been able to drop 2 atomic bombs on Japan. Nobody did shit. They had us in slavery for 350 years. Nothing's been done about it. They've stolen everything from everybody. They get to do weird, freaky stuff behind the scenes without any type of hindrance. Like really creepy, like vomit type stuff, you know, like just really bad, violent, feasts of blood type stuff. They get to do all that. Not saying that, and I'm not saying, we're missing out. I'm not saying that that's fun, but this is the amount of liberty that they have been given, that this specific race, this same race that does those things, they also write all the laws. They write all the laws. They have all the prisons that we fill, and they make money off those prisons, you guys. These people are not law-abiding citizens. They just don't police themselves. They don't. So what I'm trying to say, and they've been living on earth dictating to the world their lies. Everybody's under the influence of the lies of Esau, Edom. And one of those lies is there is no reincarnation, or the lack of the understanding of how reincarnation works and judgment under the sun works. So that's why this lesson might sound very strange or unusual to some people, because I'm saying that YAHAWASHI, the one the world ignorantly calls Jesus, was Adam, Melchizedek or Melchizedek, Isaac, and King Solomon. He was all those. He was every single one of those men. And so when we leave him being Isaac and then he comes back down as King Solomon, the Most High says things about the birth of King Solomon that he doesn't say about any other king on earth. And this is what he said about King Solomon. He said this. Let me find it. I know I have it. Hold on, I have it in here. I just don't want to. My mercy will I not take from him? Right? Let me see. I got all of these precepts that have something to do with this lesson. I just don't know what time in the lesson I need to pull them, because it all came down as a download to me today. Hold up, that Galatians one is really deep. Let me see if where are you? Salakia. Let me see. Okay, so this is one of them. 2 Chronicles 7:14. But let me go over and then to Adam also. Okay, it's Genesis 7:7, Luke. Okay, so I didn't pull it. So that's going into the moon for him. Here we move and okay. I'm gonna pull it really quick. My mercy shall not depart from him. I will be his God and he will be my son. Those are very specific titles or very intimate statements that the Most High is saying to King David about this son that's going to be born from Bathsheba. Okay, let me see. He shall be my son. It's going to be in Samuel. Yep. Okay. So the Most High is speaking to King David through the prophet Nathan about this young man that's going to be born to him, that he's going to build a temple. He's going to assign the task of building the first temple to King Solomon. Right? And what is he going to say about King Solomon? Look at this. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of the children of men. Now remember the story of the prodigal son. Remember those key words. How the prodigal son squandered his inheritance, and then he came back and repented, and the father saw him from a distance and just loved him and celebrated, right? And the other son was pissed off, and he said a very key thing: your son has squandered his inheritance with harlots. And so when you're carnal, you think, the math, 2 + 2 is 4. Well, if I was given a whole bunch of money, I'd be banging some hoes too, right? You're going to be partying with the girls, drinking, getting crazy. you know, doing all the stuff you see in movies. You know, just partying up like Richard Pryor style, right? With a whole bunch of women naked. Okay, well, what about it spiritually? What are harlots spiritually? How wealthy was King Solomon, you guys? More wealthy than anyone has ever walked the earth, right? He was also more wise. Okay, so look at this. And so look at this statement right here. 2 Samuel 7:14. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. This if is huge. There are no ifs. There are no coincidences with the Most High, you guys. This is a dark saying, bro. If. You don't think Yahweh doesn't know? If he commit iniquity, I don't know if he's going to, but if he does, that's not what this is saying, man. This requires the spirit. This is a deep mystery. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of the children of men. Now look at the next verse. Look at this next verse. Oh wait. I was trying to slide it. But this is verse 15. But my mercy shall not depart away from him. Just stop right there. What? But my mercy shall not depart away from him. How many Psalms did King David, his father, the father of this boy that's being spoken about, how many Psalms have been written? His mercy endures forever. His mercy endures forever. His mercy endures forever. And then we get to 2 Samuel, and we see the one person in all of the world, in human history, that the Most High declares, but my mercy will not depart away from him. What? And this is after he says this. If. That big old if. And we know there's no coincidences, right? So everything established, it's because of the will of the Most High. It's because it was already decreed. It was already pre-existed. It was already pre-planned out. We just came down here to live it out, right? Everybody. Man's ways are of Yahweh. How then can he know his own way? You don't think that didn't apply to YAHAWASHI either? Yes, it did. In fact, everything that applies to us, you guys, applies to YAHAWASHI as the first, because he is the first. This is why everything has to represent him. The tithe, the frankincense and myrrh, the lamb without blemish. Everything has to resemble YAHAWASHI, because everything is about him, bro. Even this transgression. If he transgresses, well, he transgressed when he was Adam, and coats of skin were made for him. And even though it was because of Eve, Eve got her clothing. She got the covering of her transgressions because of her marriage to Adam, which is what? Another type and shadow of us, the hopeful elect. The only reason why you get forgiven, the only reason why you get redeemed is because of your marriage, your hopeful posture, and returning from your whorish ways back to being a wise virgin, a suitable wife, through this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, through the oils and the washing of the water of the word, getting cleaned off, getting away from Babylon, and becoming a wise virgin. The only way you can even attempt to be that is because of the blood of YAHAWASHI. Right? So your connection to him gets you covered. Eve didn't get forgiven on her own. She got forgiven because of her husband. Right? So it's really deep. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of the children of men. And then look at this statement right afterwards, man. This is Yahweh, you guys. He doesn't play around with sin. He doesn't. But what did he tell Moses? I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. And then what happened right after all of that? We were given the Passover, right? We were given the instruction on the Passover. That was the first instructions we were given after the 10 plagues. And what are the instructions? To put the blood of the lamb without blemish, the firstborn male, on the doorpost. And I will see that, and I will pass over. Why? Because right here, the Most High is declaring about King Solomon, who we now understand is YAHAWASHI, that my mercy will not depart from him. Right here, verse 15. But my mercy shall not depart away from him. And we know King Solomon went off, because what did he do later in his old age? He erected altars to the abominations of all the heathen nations because of his heathen wives that he had, right? He squandered his inheritance on riotous living with harlots. Those are the harlots mentioned in the parable of the prodigal son. He's not talking about the women. He's not talking about his wives. He's talking about those altars, those false gods that YAHAWASHI, as King Solomon, opened up those altars to. And then, at the same time, when he was Solomon, what happened? When he was dedicating that altar, and he was operating as a king and a priest, and he says one of the most amazing prayers: if your people find themselves in the land of their captivity, and they bethink themselves, and they turn this way, and they raise their hands, and they call upon your name and confess their sins, because no man has never sinned, hear their words, O Yahweh, and forgive them. Right? Talking about when we'd be in captivity. How do you know that was going to happen? He's operating as a prophet too. And this is the response of Yahweh to King Solomon's prayer, who is YAHAWASHI, who he said, if he sins or if he transgresses, and there's no ifs with Yahweh, that don't even make sense, right? And then and if he sins, I will beat him, I'll chastise him, I'm gonna whoop his ass, but my mercy will never depart from him. What does Yahweh say to King Solomon when he's praying about us? If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and will heal their land. Yes, that is about us. But what does YAHAWASHI do? Look what he does when he comes back down. He remembers that he was King Solomon, and he understood that he had transgressed in that lot. So what was he doing when he was fasting for 40 days, you guys, before he started his ministry? He was doing this. He was humbling himself before his Father. If my people, YAHAWASHI is Yahweh's people. He's the cornerstone, you guys. Without him, there is no us. There is no Israel without YAHAWASHI, bro. He's our rock. We literally stand on him. We literally have to line ourselves up with him. He's the chief cornerstone that the whole house is built off of, right? He is the high priest wearing the 4 rows, the breastplate of judgment, and on those 4 rows are the 12 stones, representative of the 144,000 chosen, which is also a representative of the 12 tribes of all of Yasharallah. That's the order, man. So YAHAWASHI, the son of David, is also the prodigal son. They're one and the same. And because he humbled himself before his father's mercy will never depart from him. And we are called to conform to this exact same image, because we've done the same thing. We were given the laws and we went off. Just like YAHAWASHI was given the laws when he was Adam. He knew wisdom when he was King Solomon, and he went off. Right? And just like he went off, he overcame. Because he was tempted. He was tempted right here. Remember when Satan comes and tempts him to worship him? Bow down to me and I'll give you the world. You guys, now that I'm understanding that YAHAWASHI was King Solomon, and now that I'm understanding and still learning that what King Solomon did, the temptation that Satan was tempting with, it's way more deeper. There's more meaning, there's more understanding to it now. It's like, oh shit, that wasn't just that just wasn't some just random rock star temptation. Oh, if you worship me, I'm gonna make you the ruler of the world because, you know, you sold your soul and now you're gonna be famous. That's how I viewed it. In my ignorance, in my youth, in my carnality, oh, you know, and then, you know, Jesus, because I was a Christian, oh, he turned it down. Dude, it's so much more deeper understanding. Wait a minute. YAHAWASHI was aware of the altars that he had established when he was King Solomon. He remembered. He knew, dude. He knew. He remembered, man. The grief, the confession, the shame, however he prayed that out. Man, what have I done? You can kind of see it too with King David. You know King David's a man after God's heart. He never committed adultery against the Most High. He committed adultery on the physical level. And the reason why adultery on the physical level is so painful, it is devastating, but it's the same thing in the spirit. It's the same. It's harsh, right? And when the prophet Nathan brought King David's adultery to his attention a year later by giving him that parable about the rich man stealing the poor man's sheep, he put it in plain terms, and King David, man, that guy should surely die. And Nathan says, thou art the man. And then he begins to break down everything. And you touch Uriah's wife, and then you killed him with the sword of the heathen. You don't think the devastation that hit King David's soul shook him? He never did it again. He repented. I believe he even named one of his sons Nathan later, like in honor to the prophet. Like King David truly repented. YAHAWASHI is the son of David. I know this sounds great, but YAHAWASHI truly repented. YAHAWASHI didn't sin in that lot. He was fasting, talking about his past lives. Something that we have to learn how to do in this life, now that we know. So I wanted to title this lesson, and I know I'm all over the place. I did not do this justice. I'm missing. There's a ton of precepts. Look, let me get this one real quick. Let me see it so you guys can see what I'm trying to say. So look at this one. So we know in the New Testament, and I was sharing this information with Yashimai when I was at work, and literally when I was putting this fire extinguisher up, when I was talking to Yashimai, I saw that those last three digits, because you have to write these digits on the tag when you tag the tank. That's what helps identify the tank. And I was like, damn. But Yashimai had hung up with me, and so I saw that, and I took a photo of it because I was going to send it to him. But that's just whatever, you know. So look. So remember this, Mark 10:18, YAHAWASHI. He's not just being humble. He's also understood. You know, come on, man. When we've made a mistake, there's a broken and contriteness that comes with, wow, I did that. I can't believe I did that. You know what I'm saying? You guys don't think that YAHAWASHI has experienced that with his father? This is what makes him such a wonderful high priest. This is why he knows what we're going through. I was always taught as a Christian, because he came down as a man and he had to sweat and he got tired. Yeah, those are real things. But people don't understand that YAHAWASHI was King Solomon. See, it's what he did as King Solomon too. And what he did when he listened to his wife as Adam, he understands. This is what makes him, this is why his fragrance is so sweet. This is why he smells like frankincense and myrrh. It's all of the colors of being a son and a father and a son, and a ruler, and a redeemer, and an older brother. It's all of this that all these things he does, even in his falling down, him getting up and making it right. It's perfect. It's a sweet and smelling fragrance. Look at him. YAHAWASHI answered the rich young ruler, because the rich young ruler said, "Good master." I never could understand why he said this. People think, oh, he was just being humble. It's so much more than that. YAHAWASHI said unto him, "Why callest thou me good? There is none good but the Most High. The Most High, my Father, has never sinned." And he's got a right and a left-hand expression on the earth. He's perfect balance, and he has never sinned. I tried to be perfect balance in my rebellion as King Solomon, but I'm not supposed to do it that way. That was too soon. I'm not supposed to be releasing altars in the earth for others to worship that way. There's a different way to do it. And that was my transgression. You see how that hits? Look at Galatians. This is talking about us. But remember, YAHAWASHI is the first. Look what it says. And look, when I pulled this up, because this was coming into my spirit, look how both these precepts came up. So Galatians 4, I was thinking Galatians 4, but Matthew 21 and 38 also come up. So look at Matthew 21 and 38. But when the husbandmen saw the son, they said among themselves, "This is the heir." So he's the heir, right? YAHAWASHI, talking about YAHAWASHI, "Let us kill him." Talking about how people responded to YAHAWASHI, how even how Esau is going to try to fight YAHAWASHI when he comes back because they don't want to give over the earth. So we know that YAHAWASHI is the heir. He's the star that's going to come out of Jacob, right? Yes, we are joint heirs, but YAHAWASHI is the heir. Now go up to Galatians 4, right there. "Now I say that the heir, as long as he is a child, differeth nothing from the servants." Who are the servants? The Elohim, you guys. "Though he be Lord of all, but is under tutors and governors." Now just think about YAHAWASHI as Adam, YAHAWASHI as Malach Tazadok, YAHAWASHI as Isaac, YAHAWASHI as King Solomon, and just consider, those are baby photos of him. Those are photos of him in his youth when he was younger, even though he's a very ancient and wise man. In all of those photos, even though he's he's our everlasting Father, in all of those photos, he's an ancient one. But concerning his lot with Yahweh, he's a baby. He's growing from glory to glory. Every time, awesome. Every time he's come to the earth, he's done amazing things. Then he comes as YAHAWASHI, and he still says what? Go tell that fox, when he was talking about King Herod, that I do miracles and I heal, and on the third day I will be perfected. Something like that, paraphrasing. Even YAHAWASHI, when he was walking the earth, he still wasn't perfected. He wasn't going to be perfected until after the cross. Then he was going to be in his completion. And now reread Galatians 4. And then look at Matthew 21. He's the heir mentioned in Galatians 4. It's talking about him. Even though Paul was talking about us, because it does relate to us. We are joint heirs. But YAHAWASHI is the heir. I pray that this is edifying. I apologize for the all over the place. I'm also recording this for myself to listen to later so I can get sharper with this. But I want to present YAHAWASHI as the prodigal son and the son of David, the son of David, are one and the same. I pray this was edifying. I want to give all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem YAHAWASHI, Bahashem Rakakodash. And I want to give double honors to the elders and the apostles, the great millstone, of whom I learned from. And a shalom to the brothers who are taking, the hopefully elect men, who are taking this truth to the four corners of the earth, bidding the hopefully elect of Yasharallah, Israel, to the marriage supper of the Lamb, YAHAWASHI. This is your brother Radah. Shalom.